Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to Cub Chat Live. Hello, Amanda. You are officially our first comment. Amanda's got the right idea. We'd love to give you shout outs and answer your questions throughout the show because we're talking about a pretty hot topic. And we've got one of our favorite guests on. Audrey, thank you for joining today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So the question on, I feel like everyone's lips is, can new Cub Scouts join a den halfway through the year? Before you deliver the very exciting answer to that, which hopefully our audience has a guess on, I just wanted to say, if you are watching today's stream on one of the council Facebook pages or any page outside of the Scouting Magazine Facebook page, thank you for watching. We love to have you. If you want to join the live conversation, head to that URL at the bottom of the screen, comment along with the show. Like I said, we'd love to answer your questions, share your feedback for the rest of the audience. There's a lot of volunteers and new parents in the comments, so please join the conversation. Otherwise, sit back, relax, and listen to this. Okay, so can Cub Scouts really join mid-year, Audrey?
Oh my gosh. So yeah, this is a hot topic. We've been, as we've said before, we try to listen to social media and different pain points to see what's out there and what's coming up. And this is something that we keep hearing is a question, and we wanted to make sure we had a rock solid answer for you. The answer is absolutely yes. Yes. So a lot of families right now have maybe a lull or a break in between sports. Some of the team sports are normally fall and then into spring. So they find it is a good time to think about other activities to join that their family may join. And it may be a short term, they may do it just for winter, or they may be, all of a sudden they love it and they want to continue on. So the answer is absolutely yes. We should be an open door to welcome families at any time. And there are some thoughts that we're going to share about different reasons why and how we can make this a success. As we do know, the program has started, as it started in technically June 1st, if you're having a summer program, which we encourage everybody except the Tigers. And so you're on your way a little bit, but the answer is still yes.
Okay, I know we've got another pressing follow-up question to get to, but I have some questions thinking about that. Can new Cub Scouts join, even though, it's February or whatever month it is? Rob says join 365 days a year. So you're saying, right. So you're saying if it's October, yes, of course.
Well, yes. I mean, the fall season typically starts, when the schools start, and that'll depend on your area and, whether you're on year-round school or whatever, it could be August, September, any of that time frame. And if you're running a year-round program, which we do highly encourage, so we'll have follow-on Cub Chats on that in a few weeks, about summertime programs, which we encourage. But the year does start for Cub Scouts June 1st or close there too, based on some council flexibility. But basically in National, we roll everybody up into the next grade level and after June 1st. And so that would be the material you're working on. So if you started in, summer to fall, and then now it's February, so there can be a concern like, we're halfway done. And how is this even possible?
Okay. Yeah. So that's why it could be confusing. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but what happens if like a Cub Scout wants to join kind of like towards the end of the school year? Like, so maybe we're looking at May.
Right. So the answer is always yes, because these are new families that we want to welcome into our community. And the steps we're going to get into in just a few minutes would be the same no matter when you joined. If you're in the fall, obviously everybody's on the same sync, on the same track. But if you're joining at any other time during the year, there are a couple steps that we recommend you take to welcome them. And their experience is going to be different based on where they join. And but we always want to welcome them. These are people who are coming because they want to have a values-based experience for their children. They want to grow in outdoor fun and have citizenship, character development, all the good things that we stand for. And so we don't want to turn anybody away from that. So what we want to do is find ways to make that a success. And that's what we're going to talk about.
Okay, I'm really glad you gave that clarification. So, new families are always welcome, and there's always a way to make that work. Heather clarifies yes, of course they can join whenever, but the parents of the child and the den leader would work together to get the scout caught up. This already happened in their pack. Yay, Heather. And they got the scout caught up. The parents' buy-in help is huge. I also think this is important because outside of Cub Scouting, like if you're a new family, you don't know that, ideally you're joining in the fall and you can just follow along the program with all the other kids. You don't know. It might hit you in March, like, we need something for good old Tommy or Sally, and
Right.
and Cub Scout sounds like the perfect fit. It would be very disheartening to have a unit tell you, it just didn't quite work out timing wise for us. No, get them in there. We can catch them up.
Because they don't really understand what the program is. They're just seeing it as a good thing potentially for their family to take part in, and maybe something that has a positive sense in the community. And right now, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there's an Ashton Kutcher a little video about, he's a den leader. He's a movie star and a den leader for his own son, and how he was a Cub Scout and then a Scout. So this is getting publicity traction right now. And so the idea is that we may have a lot more families all of a sudden looking at the scouting because of a representative out there that has a lot more media availability than we do. And so we wanted to make sure we got this topic out there, and encourage all our leaders to be welcoming to all families as they all of a sudden may be aware of Scouts. I mean, I've even heard, hey, Scouts are still there,
Yeah.
kind of questions. And yes, we're most definitely still here.
Yes.
And we're out there doing a great job, and we're so thankful to those leaders who are providing those experiences.
Right.
But
And
yeah,
that's always going to be a question, and probably always has, because you think of like, if just one family generation misses out on scouting, then those people are like, well, I knew my dad was in Scouts. Is it still around, kind of thing?
Right.
So I feel like this probably happens to our unit leaders all the time. Quick shout out to Pack 38, Troop 38, Pack 84, Troop 601. Thanks for tuning in. So if you are one of these unit leaders, Audrey, how can you welcome these new families who are interested throughout the year?
Right. Well, one of your commenters already, stole the punchline. So I'm so glad that there are other leaders out there that are already thinking this way, which is a fantastic thing. The first step is you want to have a conference or a meeting, just a connection point with that family, and describe the program to them. Because as I said, they haven't had the orientation and they haven't had all the fall stuff. This is all new, and they might just think, hey, we're just going to plug in and go camping and, go have some fun cupcakes or whatever. So you want to have a conference with them and explain to them the program, that there is a rank that is awarded at the end of the year for completing certain items, which are called adventures. And you get immediate recognition for those adventures. But at the end, there is, if they've completed all the requirements, they do get a badge of rank. And need to ask them, is that important to them? It may not be. So don't get hung up on that. It may not be important to them, but just let them know that this will be awarded, as in everybody who has earned it gets it. And then that would mean your child would not. So you need to just have that discussion. Is this an important thing to you and your family? Because they could be just happy with the belt loops as they go through the meetings and get the remainder of the activities. They may be happy with the experiences. They may be happy with if you're Pinewood Derby, if you haven't had it yet, or whatever those summer experiences are coming. And the idea would be to look forward to the next year, and then they could do that. The second option is, if it is important to them, have them work with them to understand that parents can work with the children through the handbook to complete their ranks. They can work on those adventures as a parent. From tigers up through bears, parents can sign off on all requirements, that they do their best and provide that experience. Webelos, they need to have, the den leader needs to designate it to the parents. But that is definitely still an option. And I would encourage that option if you're having a late joining family, that this is important too. The other thing that they can do is, leaders, they being leaders, is they can also do like makeup sessions. And I know that this might benefit other scouts who did join in the fall, just were gone on a few times. So I know that there are different units out there that have makeup sessions, once every couple months. And you could even look into your community if there's a second, close by den. Sometimes packs have multiple dens in the same grade. If they have a joint makeup session, maybe one leader, runs it this month and the other one runs it the next month. So if you have a larger pack, you have those opportunities. But that's the two key points. Check if that's important with them and explain the program so they know heads up what would happen, and then look for ideas and help them to work through that.
That's wonderful. And I want to review kind of what you had just said by rank here in just a second. We have a couple great comments. Leslie says, best program in the world. My son went through the program and now he's an Eagle.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, I wonder how many Eagles out there might not have joined in the fall. Who knows? I'm just
right.
Curious. Yeah, I'm
I
sure
don't have a stat on that. I have a lot of stats, but not.
Right. Who would know that? But it's a normal thing. It happens all the time. Amanda says, we're a military affiliated pack and troop, and we get this a lot. Always the more the merrier for our scout families. We help the family and den leaders catch the scout up and happily do so. The Cubs and new families love it and feel welcome and encouraged to push toward their goal. Very good.
And hopefully you have someone designated in your pack to be that welcoming person. So it doesn't all have to be on the leader. Sometimes it is a pack role where they'll have a person who onboards new families. And that is what I would encourage, is that you have somebody that can kind of follow the family, get them the calendar, get them connected to all the communication channels, whatever communication channel you use. We're going to do that in another Cub chat. And make sure that they're welcomed. Because you don't know who's going to be your next den leader. You don't know who's going to be a super awesome family as far as, maybe they have fantastic barbecue skills. We don't know yet. So you want to welcome them and make sure they're part of community, because that's also a second thing that they're looking for. They're looking for something for their son or daughter to participate in and to grow. They're also usually, our data says, they are looking for a sense of community, a sense of belonging. And Scouts can provide that, but only if you're welcoming and inclusive, because sometimes at the beginning, then people have got kind of friend groups and things like that. So you want to make sure that you either have that designated person, or if you don't have a separate one, that the den leader maybe can mentor them with another parent that is active, just so that they feel included and because we have a lot of terminology and things like that. And that person can be like, really, what?
Yes.
So just that partnering with, so they have a sense of community and inclusion.
I'm really glad you said that. First of all, on the communication topic, Anthony always talks to us about how, you want to constantly be surveying parents. How do they like to be communicated with, and you're going to be doing that a lot in the fall. You might be doing it at the top of the winter, semester, but it'd be worth asking those new parents too, because they might just push you over to realize, okay, actually I've got a few new parents. They all prefer to be texted. I've been doing email. It could kind of sway you.
Right. And that's going to maybe depend on the individual family and the methods that you have available to you in your own time situations. And that isn't a whole nother topic. So I don't want to delve into that, but just the idea that
you get new families. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Another thing you said that has been on the tip of my tongue the whole time, and I'm just going to be honest here. I feel like one of the hardest things when you are a new family coming into Cub Scouts or could be Scouts BSA, especially, a lot of times Cub Scout families, they've been in scouting for a long time, maybe a few in the den or in the pack, and they have maybe some older kids in Scouts BSA, and the parents have gone to Wood Badge, and they just want to talk about OA all the time, and like, that is so cool that those families are so into scouting, but it is very hard to be a new family coming into that, because you're like, I don't know any of this. I don't want to ask any of this. Like, I don't know what I joined. And I think really breaking that down.
Your new member. Thank you, Janet. I see Janet in the comments saying the new member coordinator is the official role. Thank you. Sometimes the words just, and the idea that you can use real people words to describe things, I think is a good one. We do have acronyms and labels and everything for everything, but as you're just saying, is sometimes that's just so overwhelming. So that new member coordinator or that mentor parent, whatever you want to call it, is there to help walk them through some of these things until that feels normal and comfortable to them. So we have a program. And, we have an award at the end of this program. So you don't have to get into like massive amounts of detail, but just give them real people words, real understanding of what's going on.
Exactly. Making it simple, because it is simple. We just kind of
Yes, should
complicate it
be
sometimes.
exactly. It should be fun, simple, and easy. That's our tagline, and that is what we're looking for.
Beautiful. Friend of the show, dare I say, best friend of the show, Aaron says, "Great show, guys. I had a lot of new family join our pack back in the day at random times of the year. We welcome them all." Honestly, that's how it should be. We've unfortunately heard leaders who say, "No, the program year is going. We're just going to roll them over to the fall." That is really not what you are supposed to or want to do for the health of your pack. Yay to
No,
Janet.
because they will have moved on, right? We'll have lost our opportunity to impact that family, to grow that citizen. So um, you definitely want to welcome them year round. And I know that if you're in leadership, that can feel overwhelming because you're just managing the program. That's why I highly encourage the new member coordinator or other mentor parent or somebody to help you take that on, because I do understand we all have limited time, and when you're adding folks in, you're like, okay, that's another thing to manage. But I want to say that's really worth it. It's really something that's really worth it. And so let's figure out how, instead of saying no, let's figure out how.
Right. So the answer to the age-old question, can Cub Scouts join mid-year, is, of course, yes. Aaron also adds in their new member coordinator, which shout out to Janet for giving us that term.
Yes.
Their new member coordinator was the mom of a scout who had aged out of the program and asked if she could stay involved, so they put her to work. That's so lucky and an awesome idea, because then she's maybe not as focused on her son and daughter in the program. She can take the time to really break definitions and terms and how it all works down for new families.
Yes. No, that is perfect. There are a lot of what I call helpers, right, available. Well, there might be a lot, but there are helpers available that, they might be grandparents. They might be, like you said, past people within the pack. And maybe they don't want to do it like every single week, but they could help with something like that. Hey, we have a new family coming in. Can you help me onboard them? And they come in for that time frame, and then they go on, their way. So and that's part of keeping good troop relations too, because those troops want you healthy, right? So maybe they do have those folks from up upstream
Right.
that are downstream anyway. But those people on the next stage who want a strong pack, because a strong pack feeds a good troop. So
right.
Reach out to some of those. Maybe you've got some helpers in your district. You might have commissioners. I mean, maybe they can come in for a couple meetings to help you onboard things, because they also want a healthy pack. And they don't, like I say, I call them helpers because there's a lot of different titles, and we don't really need to be confused about the titles. We just need to know that there are some people out there who are interested in helping you. And it's just finding those people.
Right. Quick shout out to Todd, who was in Cub Scouts. He's an Eagle Scout, and he's now an assistant scoutmaster. And then Rob has a couple great comments here. First, I'm going to give you his qualification to say this. His first year as a den leader, they started the fall with 8 tigers and gained another new Cub Scout every few weeks throughout the school year until they hit 16 scouts by May. And then this is what I really love that he said. Bobcat is a rank, so new scouts joining late in the program year will still earn that rank and can be celebrated even if they don't earn the program year rank. I like that just because it gives you an opportunity to celebrate new scouts. And I think we talk about how important it is to, give recognition as quickly as possible.
Right. And I think that the feedback we get from parents is the communication is key. If they understand that's the beginning rank, but they won't be if they don't complete the makeup stuff, they don't get the grade rank, then as long as that's clearly communicated and they decide that's a choice they're going to make, that is their choice. But the problem goes when they feel like they haven't been communicated. And at the end, then they're upset because the child, the scout, did not earn it, and everybody else is earning it. So just a caution note there. Absolutely, a lot of families may say, nope, we don't care. Yes, that's fabulous. Give us the Bobcat patch, and we're all great. We're all good. But it's the communication that is really key there.
Yeah.
And did we already do the is there time in February to get it done?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
No, we just talked about how to handle if they have not completed the rank by the program year end, or if they want to complete the program rank through the year end. And you broke down for us how that works for different age levels. But is there still enough time to get a program year rank done?
Right. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. I got lost in the comment. Um, yes, the answer is yes. Because traditionally, our program is the actual requirements. Yes, you could do a ton more electives to make it a well-rounded, wonderful program, and we encourage that if you're already done. But when we were adding the girls into Cub Scouts, which was such a fabulous thing, they didn't start until February. The early adopters did not start. The program started in February. So all those first time girls into Cub Scouts, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. They started in February and they were able to complete the program by June 1st. So we have solid data that it is possible. We know from other people that it is definitely possible, but that is a data point that I can tell you for sure happened, and they successfully completed by June. So.
Ooh, amazing real world example. Didn't know that was coming. Love that. I do think it's been 4 years. I was just trying to count that in my head. I think it's been 4 years.
I think it's been 4 years. I think I saw something going through on that. Yeah. So that's exciting.
Very cool. Okay, so the last question. It's important to welcome not just the Scouts, right, but their families as well. How do we do that?
Well, we kind of talked a little bit about, I know I jumped forward a little bit on that because we had some comments that alluded to that, but it is critical that you welcome the family because, traditionally we still see data on this, that the mom is the decision maker for the family as far as schedule and activities. So that it is critical. If she is, or the rest of the family is not feeling welcome, then it's an activity that they no longer continue. So that's some hard reality. And so it is absolutely critical that you welcome not just the Scout, but the Scout family. And we talked about the new family coordinator, helping them feel connected. Maybe you're inviting them to coffee to help them figure out if they're doing their own plan, how that works. Whatever you need to do to make them feel connected is important. And that can happen, anywhere. So we highly encourage that. It doesn't just have to be in a den meeting, but it could certainly be in a den meeting.
It seems like so many of the activities that you really should already be doing to retain your current Cub Scouts are the kinds of events that welcome new families. And it's just a case sometimes of reminding your existing families, your current Cub Scouts, hey, remember, we're going to have some new people and they're not going to understand everything we're talking about. So be sure, if they have questions or if you can think of some acronym we use, try to break it down for them because you'll remember how much that helped you when you joined. Usually.
And I always look for the people, right? I'm like an ambivert. So I'm, a little bit introverted where I'm very focused and I'm a little bit, I can do these things. But there are people who are full extroverts and they just love people and use those people, have them assigned to sit next to them at the PAC meeting or whatever. Those are your critical people. They may not have an official role, but they are critical people because they love people and they just want to talk to people and they just want to include people. And so have them do that. Because as I said before, there might already be friendships in the pack and cliques and things like that. And you don't want them to feel excluded or outside. As they are looking for community as well as a place for their children to grow.
Right. And this little extra work you do now to onboard a new family is going to help you in the fall. It's a lot less work you're going to have to do then. You're going to have larger, stronger packs, bigger volunteer pools, you hope. These are parents that hopefully are going to also help out.
Right. And it can be everything from little things all the way up to some major folks who you just don't know the skills and the talents that they bring, or even the helpers they bring. Maybe they've got grandparents that are passionate about doing things with their grandchildren, and they're excellent. They have time, so that's a great resource.
Yes. Okay, we have a couple great comments I want to read, and then we'll go to closing thoughts. Jesse mentions mini reports are helpful for both parents and Scouts. And then that's what they can use to understand where they are when they're working on rank. Interesting. I'm curious what these mini reports are exactly. Jesse, give us some clarification because I love the idea.
I'm not sure on that. I know parents have access to Scout Book for looking up ranks and so on. So that's definitely an onboarding thing that they would need to to help them with. And I'm not sure if they're being generated from that or if they just mean
Put a little something
giving them little updates.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that they are aware of Scoutbook or the scouting app so that they can look up advancement on there and see how it's going and make sure everything's being worked on. Maybe that's what she's talking about.
Yeah, I think it kind of just goes along with the communication, like you're talking about, like frequent and clear communication with your new parents probably goes a really long way. And she says they are Scout Book generated reports.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so good.
Very cool. Yeah. Also mentions there's a new member coordinator training. That is such a good shout out. Yeah, that's definitely something worth checking out. We have viewers both in Bangladesh and Poland watching. Hello, you guys.
Fantastic.
Thanks for tuning
in. Welcome.
And then Rob has another great comment just to prove that it's possible. One of his Tigers joined in March and earned his Tiger rank by the end of the school year. It can be done. Lots of work at home with the parents. Yeah, I feel like it probably depends so much on the kid who's joining and their parents. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like if you talked to me and we joined late and you told me, hey, it's going to be a lot of work, but you can do this, I'd be like, oh, yeah, that's even better, because the whole idea, I was getting my kid involved because we want to do something. We want to put work into something.
Right.
So I love that.
Yeah.
This is a great topic. Obviously, our audience is very interested. We've got a lot of viewers and a lot of comments throughout. What are we missing, Audrey? Anything else we want to talk about before we wrap this up?
No, the bottom line is we want to welcome Scouts. That's our business. That's what we're doing. That's why we're here. Is we want to bring in new families into the program so that they can experience all the benefits of the program. We want to build those leaders for tomorrow. Those people of good citizenship, physically fit, all those kinds of fantastic things. And if they're not here, we can't do that. So we should also always have the answer to be yes. Are they welcome? Yes. And then we work about the details. And so I think we talked a little bit about how to do that.
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, Cub Scouts is everything, but it's Cub Scouts. We can do this. They can join. We can say yes. We keep it simple. We make it work. So can new Cub Scouts still join even though it's February or March or April or May? Yes. Yes, they can is the answer.
Yes, they can.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Thank you so much for taking some time to clarify this for everybody.
Oh, thank you. And this is a hot topic. Thanks for those who in social media who brought it to our attention that this is something that needed a little clarification, and we love doing this. So we're very excited about the program. We are so thankful for all the leaders out there who are supplying the program and all the parents who are supporting them in that.
That's such a good point, too. Everybody, our wonderful leadership sees your comments on Facebook, on social media, on different Facebook groups. So keep having them. That is where we got inspiration for today's show. We're always looking for feedback on these shows. You can watch past episodes of Cub Chat Live. You can review the show. Your feedback is a gift to us. So please let us know, what are you interested in hearing more about? What should we cover this year? We have a lineup of shows coming up that's really exciting. And on that note, we will be back next Friday for another Cub Chat Live. It's going to be a good one. Until then, we will see everybody next week.
All right, great. Take care, everybody.